Surprise, 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 surprise. I'm just kidding. We told y'all we were coming here this Sunday. This is for Love and Marriage Huntsville Season 8, Episode 6. It's your boy James from the Watch Your Mouth Reviews channel, where I'm here to give my honest review while trying to watch my mouth. Not gonna happen this video. Sorry, y'all. Not happening. Joining me as always is my co-host, Mrs. Best. Y'all say what's up to my best friend in the whole wide world.
Happy Sunday, everybody.
Yes, happy Sunday, happy Sunday. So, y'all, we got to talk, because this episode was all over the place.
Mm.
Carlos, what is you doing? What is going on here? Why? But anyways, y'all, I guess we just gonna go ahead and go through it. So the show opens up where it left off with Ken and Trisha. They are talking about her movement and her divorce, or lack thereof, as we say in this episode, because Trish has not filed any paperwork and has not even had a conversation with her husband to say, hey, it's time for us to cut the cord. What's going on here? She just timid, well, and he asked her, do you see yourself having a future with me? And she goes, yeah, yeah. And it was like, are you sure, Trisha?
Right.
Like, are you sure? And then so when we're in her confessional, she's saying that in her experience of being married, her husband did switch up later on in the marriage. So it was really hard for her because when she gets into this relationship with this new man, she's expecting to switch. So she's kind of reserving herself, which I feel like is selfish in the instance, because at the end of the day, as I even learned myself, there is no guarantees. Like with love, you take your chances and hope that you get it right. And so far, this man, at least from what we're seeing, hasn't really given me that many of red flags for me to say, oh no, this definitely not one to have a future. And Ken genuinely in this conversation would like to have that future with her. So I just feel like for me, looking at her, I was like, yeah, it's coming off that you're hiding something, and I can't tell what it is. Mrs. Best, how did you feel about this scene?
This lady got all types of problems. But she's gotta like speak up. It does if when people want to be divorced, they get divorced. That's all I'm gonna say. When people want to have a future, people will find a way to, start their future or work towards it. So it's really that simple. Obviously she's hiding something. She irritates me though.
She Trisha aired. We ain't been six, seven, we ain't even 10 episodes in. Trisha already getting on your nerves. But I'm kind of like that too, y'all. I'm not seeing it for Trisha. I'm not. I'm trying. Like I'm really trying to give her a chance, but it's just I can't. I can't with her. So we're gonna come back to them in a little bit because they're going to even irk me even more. But going over to Miss Nail. Miss Nail's over there picking out some shoes because it is her birthday. Her kids are throwing her a birthday party, and Mr. Fletcher walks in and he's, talking with her. And she said, like, who's gonna be at my party? And he said, I pretty much invited everyone. And she said, I'm a little nervous about you inviting everyone because at the reunion, good morning where you are, HK underscore X. Thank you for joining. Hi, Dustin Butler. Thank you for being here. So she pretty much said at the reunion when they were all talking, Stormy and Tisha, they're not in a great place right now. And she said that she's nervous because she doesn't want them causing any drama at the birthday party. And then Chris Fletcher brings up, well, what about the kids? Like, our kids will be there. And she said that's also drama too, because from what we understand, two more of their kids are falling out with each other as well. I don't remember which kids it was, but she's saying we might just need a TV show just for them because they're going through it. And he pretty much said, I don't think Lexi's coming because I haven't had a chance to talk to her. And you can tell that the disconnect between him and his daughter is really weighing in on him. And as Miss Nell said, like, you only could fix something with someone if they're willing to, come to them and try to fix it. And Lexi's not doing it.
Mm.
And from Lexi's point of view, like, I'm not in her mind, but I can understand to some extent. But at the same time, this happened 30 some odd years ago. Y'all mean to tell me in the 30 some odd years, this never got addressed and buried? Like for real, this never got addressed. Like y'all ain't never said, "Well, let's have a conversation about the past so we can bury it and move forward for a better future." No one's ever did this. Like black folks, we gotta do better than this. Come on now, we do. Mrs. Best, how did you feel about that scene?
Yeah, it's been about a couple of decades. I pretty much feel the exact same as you. I can tell though that not talking to his daughter or whatever's going on does impact him. I like them as a couple though, Nell and Chris. I do like them as a couple, but I don't know. I was kind of bored. I'm not gonna lie to y'all. I was a little bit bored.
I wasn't bored with their scene, but I was more so, I wouldn't say irritated, but I was more so like wanting their storyline to be something different. I don't know
Mm,
what I was expecting from them. I don't, but I wanted their storyline to be different because I'm not feeling this whole. Yes, I know Lexi went to the blogs and talked about Nail being a side chick and all of this. I got all of that, but I really was like, okay, but how many times we gonna have this storyline on national TV?
mm.
Because one, this happened, as I said, y'all, this has been over 30 years ago. 30. That is too long to be carrying this.
That's
So
true. After so long, it's like you have to, for your own like sanity, heal, make peace. But you can't be holding on to something for 30 years. That's a long time.
no, yeah, absolutely. So I don't know. We'll keep them in the hands of prayer for them. But moving on from there, we then have a scene with Kimmy, Maurice, also Tisha and Marcel. Finally, we get a scene with Tisha and Marcel. I was worried about them, y'all. I thought the rumors that allegedly they had separated was coming true because we didn't see them together the first 5 episodes of the whole show. Now we're seeing them together.
Mm.
So they're standing, they're talking about business and they're talking about Kimmy's new business venture that she's opening. Maurice wants Marceau to do the bid and actually win so that way he can be the contractor that does the business. Now, Kimmy is kind of on the standpoint like, look, when Marceau do stuff that he not getting paid for, Marceau be lazy. Marceau don't show up to the location when there's something needs to happen. Then he'll send Edgar. Edgar ain't showing up on Tuesday. Then he send then Maurice. Maurice ain't there on Thursday. It's like it's always someone dropping a ball and there's light work that needs to be done. So Kimmy is like, look, I want you to bid for this, but I need to know that you're gonna do the work. And and Marcel like to talk in circles. So, Kim, I'm gonna do this for you. I'm all about my business. I'm getting paid for this. And when I get paid for this, this is what brings up the mark. And then the things we're not paying for, we can then focus on that. But it has to be the things we're getting paid for. And this Tisha, yeah, Marcel always does the business right. And he's going to do it, Kimmy. But I don't mind bidding because I feel like he needs to bid. And I'm just looking at them like, this conversation is so crazy. Because first of all, at the end of the day, we know Kimmy is going to choose Marceau. We know Marceau is going to do the business. They're gonna drag their feet. That house still ain't built on that 40 acres that they bought, talking about Scotland or whatever the shit was called. None of that's happening. So it's pointless at this point to even talk about this. But that scene was okay, and it was, I laughed when Tisha was like, Maurice, you can tell your brother wear his wedding ring, and I'm all like, yeah, more so. Why you ain't wearing your wedding ring, buddy? What's going on with that? Not that matters. I know a lot of married men don't wear their wedding bands anymore. I know.
Mine never takes his off. He don't worked in factories. Okay, he was at Tesla for 10 years. He don't worked in factories. He don't worked with the old folk. Okay, we not gonna call him Mr. Best. Anthony Josiah Herbert II never takes his off. So I was looking at Marcel like, is it not real or something? Is it gonna change color if it get wet?
Hey,
Why you took
Shayna.
it off? Hi, Shayna.
Yeah, yeah. I was looking at that too. I was like, why you take that ring off? Is there any truth to these rumors that have been a legend all over Huntsville? Okay. But that was it with them. Next thing we got, Kim meets up with Courtney at the gym and, they start shooting some hoops. And I could tell this whole situation of Trisha not even having the conversation to file for divorce is eating away at him as well, because that's what he brings up to Courtney. He was like, look, I really want her to put her foot forward and file this divorce. I don't know what's holding her up. And see, and this is where you need to ask different kind of questions, Ken. You need to ask different kind of questions because then you'll get a different answer and result, and that's how you move. Because at the end of the day, we know there's a lot of trauma there. You know, even still with her having the death of her parents and sister, we know there's trauma, so you do have to tread lightly. But at the very least, I feel like when it comes to Trisha, at least a conversation needs to be had about separation because mind y'all, he has revealed in this conversation that Trisha and her husband have been separated for 5 years and that their relationship, Ken and Trisha's, is 2 years old. So this lady has been on her own pretty much for 3 years before meeting Ken. And I don't know how long it took for them to settle into the life they have now, but even still, that's still a good 3 years on her own where she could have worked that out way before she got out with you. Especially if she knew at some point in those 3 years she'd been separated from him before she got to you that there was no turning back. Something's off here. Mrs. Best, how did you feel about that part? Did we? Oh, no, here you go.
Oh
Here you
no, it was my I was pressing unmute and it wouldn't unmute. um Trisha's weird. She's very, very weird. I like James be texting me, y'all, and I really can't like I don't dislike Trisha, but every episode my eye is turning more and more to the side, if that makes sense. She's just very strange. I feel like we also get more like significant information about her separation. We can't even call it a divorce. No paperwork has been filed.
I don't even want to call it a separation. You shacking up with a whole nother man while you sitting up here married to your husband. Ma'am, I don't it's for Ken to be questioning this, sir. Obviously, this is a big red flag because when push comes to shove,
Oh,
she's not
Shayna.
going to make now see Shayna. Now here you go. Where Naya at? Because this is usually what Naya be doing to me. But I haven't watched yet, but 5 years, Ken is wasting his time. Another man's wife is not his woman. And that's what I'm at with it. It's because I feel like at least if she were separated, I would feel better about this.
People keep doing this though. Like not just on reality TV. Like I know a couple people doing this in real life, unfortunately. And it's never at the end of the day, what they say at the end of the day gonna end. Listen, the marriage may eventually end, but it will end when the people who are married want it to end. They have not even filed. They
They
don't even
haven't
have
even
a
had a
court date.
they even haven't had the conversation. They
Right. This
haven't had
man
the
is just at home
conversation.
waiting,
Yeah, just
waiting
waiting for
for
her to walk
her
through
to
the door
get
with the
this out
groceries.
her system and come
Yeah,
on home. That's
come
what he's
on.
waiting for. That it doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense. And I have to explain every time they go somewhere, like, oh yeah, she's married, but this is what's going
Yeah,
on. And then to fix yourself to come on national television, knowing that this would be something and not willing to talk about it. I don't know. I'm just annoyed with Trisha and Ken. I kind of agree with Shayna. They can go,
yeah, they
especially
can
with
at
the
this
fact that
point.
Ken spoke more about Martell acting a fool than Trisha did. It's they can go because I
Right, and I
feel
was
like
gonna talk
Ken
about
going.
that a little bit. Because pretty much what that turned into is he brought up Martell not knowing her and him feeling like Trisha, he came off as like Trisha was one of his slides. And I was looking at the screen like, I mean, the writing kind of is on the wall. And I'm saying allegedly because I don't know, but that's how she's coming off. And Trisha lies. I'm gonna catch her in a lie by the end of this episode. Y'all stay tuned. By the end of this, I'm about to catch her in something. So y'all stay tuned because she said something that I had to rewind and go watch a few episodes back when she was having a conversation with Letitia. So y'all, and if y'all are astute, you know exactly what I'm talking about. So let's move forward. So the next scene we have coming up here is Nell's birthday party. Everybody is in their private little what are those Mercedes trucks called? The little fancy ones? I don't even know. They're the little fancy Mercedes trucks. We're gonna say that. So they're driving up. We first pan over to Marcel, Tisha, Kimmy, and Maurice. And they're talking about, Nell and this party and Stormy's event that Tisha got a text message off. And from where they last handled at the reunion, they weren't in a good place. No, what it's not a G Wagon, but it's something similar to it's like a really big truck. It's like a van almost.
The Sprinter
Sprinter.
van?
Yes, Sprinter. Thank you, Shayna.
Sprinter?
Yes, thank you, Shayna, for that. So they're in the Sprinter and she's reading off the text message that Stormy had sent. And she just said that's odd. Even Marcel was like, yeah, I don't fool with them. Them ain't my kind of people. So why did you invited me to an event? And it was like, well, one, y'all are on the show together. Duh. And then two, I mean, it's not out of the ordinary. Usually when Stormy invites people, she's not really closed off. She invites everybody to her events, like regardless if you're in a good place with somebody. Only time she didn't do it, I believe it was like a Mel and Martell thing, if I'm not mistaken. I have to go back and watch those. Not me trying to get. I love it. No, please, yeah, definitely do that because I will lose my words all the time. And then we get over to Trisha and Ken, Stormy, and Courtney's little Sprinter van. And they're talking about how, well, I guess Trisha was letting out the bag her, conversation with Tisha and her saying, that Nell is very controversial or confrontational. Confrontational is what she said. And Stormy's like, I don't agree with that. Nell is like, the very sweet, very gentle auntie. And she said that she's only seen Nell get out of character one time, and that was with Martell, and she felt like that was out of love. And I was like, no, that was out of frustration. That wasn't really love to me. It was frustration because Martell was trying to call out Nell's bluff on the loyalty. That's really what that was, and she got frustrated. So I don't think that was out of love at all. Mrs. West, how did you feel about the Sprinter conversations between the couples here?
They were all pretty stupid. Y'all know this is the job for y'all. To be discussing like why somebody would send you an invite. This is why I don't like Tisha or Marcel. It's like, dang, if they don't invite them, then it's, oh, well, I guess they just don't know how to move past things. Then if they are invited, it's, well, our last exchange was terrible. I don't understand why she's inviting me. I just want to see their house. That's it. Why y'all not filming in your house? Why? That's what I want to know.
Next episode, they're gonna be filming that. I went and saw the house the first episode. They were in that, which it was nice. It was very nice. I think they need to just stay. I'm
not saying it's not nice, but I'm just like, they talking about stuff in the van, and to me, most of the stuff that they're talking about, it's stupid. It felt slightly like for the show a little bit because y'all know that you have to invite each other to things when you film, and it's just the way that it goes. And then separate from that, Stormy is the type to just include everybody. So
right.
They all annoyed me in the van.
Yeah.
Equally.
So we get to the event first. Tisha, Marcel, Maurice, and Kimmy get there first, and they're intermingling with the Fletcher's kids, pretty much. And they're all talking about the whole interview that Lexi had did, and because they asked if Lexi was going to come, and the youngest one said no, she's not going to be here, and they were all like, well, that's sad because she needs to be here, and maybe y'all could put that to the side. This is Kimmy being optimistic, and I'm just like, no, get out them people business, Kimmy. Get out them people business. She do that a lot this episode. So we're gonna see. But then the others get there. Stormy, Courtney, Trisha and Ken. Sorry, I just spaced. I forgot their names already. And they're coming in and, everyone's getting acquainted. And then Nell finally arrives and she showed up in there. She was dancing and dropping it. Oh, I forgot about Melody. Melody showed up too, her little short little blonde wig. We love you, Melody. But Nell get there, started dropping it on the flow and everything. And we were like, oh, wow. One thing about Miss Nell, she gonna party, y'all. Miss Nell gonna party. Because, and that ponytail was that tight on that wig. I said, damn. I said, come on, Miss Nell. I'm telling you, come on, Black Snooky. No, I'm just playing. Y'all know the lady remind me of Snooky, but I'm gonna keep quiet though. But as we get into the night, we notice that Tisha is lit. At one point, she was trying to take off Mel's glasses, and she was hugging up on people. And then when they finally sit with the ladies and everything, Tisha is just trying to, get more drinks out of the husbands. It was just crazy. So then Nell has not met Trisha yet. Now, this is where I'm gonna catch Trisha. Because Trisha in this conversation says, yeah, I'm related to your husband. And she goes, and she says who the person is that would have connected them. Now, Trisha, when we saw you in the episode where you were training Tisha, you said Nell was your people's through your mama side. So maybe it was the cutting room floor. Maybe it was the editing. Maybe they got it wrong. I don't know. But because you can't give clear, concise answers when someone's asking you direct questions, especially the man you living with when it comes to regards to your husband, I have no choice but to say, "Well, why are you not related to to Chris Fletcher when you said you were related to Nail?" You see how they play? Y'all see how editing plays? And because I'm recapping the show, I'm catching it because I'm trying to understand this lady. So I'm not missing elements of her story. I'm paying attention to everything because nothing makes sense. But when you say you related to Chris, when you told Tisha you related to Nail, I would have called that out. But Tisha was too drunk. Maybe it slipped over her head. I don't know. Mrs. Best, how did you feel about that?
Yeah, I caught that. I already kind of sensed Trisha was a liar. Usually people who are like her, I don't know how to explain it. Like she's not quiet, but she's not extroverted either. So people like her tend to lie in my personal experience. So I wasn't surprised about it. I feel like it might be editing though. I don't know that she actually like told a lie. I feel like editing may have played with it. I mean, they've been together for over 30 years, so she could have found out she was related to Chris, but Nell could actually be her mom's people. I don't know. Um, I was just looking at the lounge they was in. It was nobody in there.
I
Nobody.
was looking at that too. So to me, it seemed like either Nell and Chris ain't got no friends like that, or she already had her real birthday and this was the after hour
For
stuff.
the show. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what it gave to me. I don't know, y'all. I don't know, but yeah, I saw that too. So the whole time they were kind of tagging each other, was sending drinks over, everything like that. T should get, liquid courage because she is going around messing with everybody at this point, and was, at first she was trying to address something with Nail, and then realized that Melody was looking at her. She goes, "Oh wait, hold on. She got to be Mel, and you got to be Lou Nail because y'all names sound the same, and I do this too, y'all. So I understand what she was saying. I just think the liquid courage made it come out wrong. On this channel, sometimes if the two are in the scene together, I say Miss Nail and Mel because yes, their names are too similar. And she want to go by the little nickname, fine. But yes, I understood what Tisha was going. But Tisha's so drunk, she just starting it with everybody. And Nail was like, "No, I'm Nail. I'm Nail." And I was like, "It don't need to be all of that. You can tell this girl drunk. If you don't just laugh that off and be like, okay, I'm whatever you need me to be tonight." I felt like she was overreacting. Mrs. Best, do you think Nail was overreacting with that whole thing?
Um, yes and no. My actual name is Amina, and people mess up my name a lot, so I get annoyed with that. But I also feel like there's time and place. It was her birthday, so and you are responsible for yourself. But it really wasn't that deep. But at the same time, with Tisha too, I feel like Nell's perspective is like maybe drunken mind and sober thoughts, and Tisha's messy as hell. So maybe she was taking it, to heart because of that. But it wasn't that doggone deep. It wasn't that deep. Why people can't act like they can't say Melody? That's what the dang cameras say every time they show Melody. Melody Rogers, it says on the screen. Just call her Melody or whatever. The names are confusing, but Tisha, I'm gonna just say this real fast. She be acting in ways that, like, even though I don't like how Marcel is towards her, Tisha be acting in ways that makes me understand sometimes why he is the way he is with her.
Thank you, Zeta, for catching a live. We appreciate you all the time. We love you on this channel. We happy to see you, especially me. Thank you once again. I agree with you. I feel like Tisha, something's going on because she's not acting like the Tisha we've seen in previous seasons. I don't know what this is, but hey, to each his own. So when the energy shifts, it was literally going. You know that game where you have to pull the wire and it spins around like a like a roulette table. She went. She goes, and then Stormy. She goes, I have good energy, and Stormy was like, yeah, I could tell. And they started arguing back and forth about the invitation and how it was weird. And once again, I didn't feel it was weird. Y'all are on the show together. I
Yeah.
expect invitations because I have to show up and do my scene, right? And so the conversation, once the argument kind of turns, it goes into, so at the reunion, what did you mean by popping them pills? What did you mean by that? And Letitia, like drunk and stuff, and she trying to cut you. She goes, I said what I said. You heard me, and it was like, drink it.
One of these days when Tisha not on camera, she gonna act like that and get popped in the mouth.
I was gonna say, I was ready for somebody to throw their glass at her. I just knew it was gonna happen. I just knew somebody was going to throw that glass.
She
And in a
likes
minute,
to comfort people in ways that sometimes you just don't expect. And she likes to comfort people when she has like safety around, from what I've noticed, other people, or if it's in a reunion setting, things like that. I can't always respect Tisha because you you're not gonna say, "Oh, I said what I said," and then act like the other person is just doing you so much damage when what you said is 10 times worse than anything
right?
that this
Exactly.
other person has said. Tisha just lacks accountability, but I personally don't think she's that intelligent. Hear me out. Anybody can get a college degree. It ain't that damn hard. I said what I said. So I personally have always kind of looked at Tisha a little bit like a dingbat. I'm sorry, but yeah.
Some definitely wrong. So after they were able to calm it down, they then go over to Latricia. And so Latricia, Mel's like, well, you're new to the group and everything. We just want to fill you out. And Kim was like, yeah, was that your husband that walked in with you? And she goes, no, that's not my husband and everything. And she goes, well, I am married, but that's not my husband. That's, my boyfriend. And everyone's like, well, you married? She goes, well, we're going through a separation. And so Mel's like, oh, so y'all filed papers for separation. She goes, no. And Kimmy was like, oh, so you have not filed paperwork and you're not separated. You're still married, but not to that man over there. And they were like, and she's like, yeah. And you could tell she felt embarrassed and slighted. But see, Latricia, that's what happens when you ain't got your shit together. Because I wouldn't have said a fucking thing. I would have said, no, that's just my man.
Right. All you had to say is, that's my date. That's not my husband, but that is my date. That's all you had to say. Or that's my boyfriend. You didn't have
Mhm.
to omit the information that you are married. And that's why I'm looking at her like just with the side eye, but also with slight confusion. Like, because it's stuff like this. It's like, why do you feel the need to still say that you are married? Like, why do you feel the need to say that? And then this man obviously wants to commit to her. He obviously, I can't say nothing bad about Ken. I just can't. But the red flag for me is, why are you wanting to be with someone who's clearly unavailable and unsure of what they want?
I
I
feel
feel
like,
like she gonna
mhm.
end up back with her husband.
You think so? Okay.
I feel like this is
So,
something that they go through, from what Stormy just had explained, and him being like that man for the color purple. It sounded like her husband's a little bit controlling, but I feel like sometimes she like that. There's security. She probably still love him. But then at the same time, I feel like sometimes she get tired of him and then she'll leave him. And it'll probably last for a few years or a few months. I feel like they do this. That's what she gives me.
and you know what's crazy?
Quietly
We finna
toxic.
go into a rabbit hole. We finna go into a rabbit hole because it's always you women like this that end up getting really good ones. And I
Yep.
mean superb
Every time.
good ones every time. And then they end up becoming after you the assholes we end up getting.
Dude, I have a friend that we
Like,
both know. Me and you have a mutual friend that
mhm.
does this. That does this. That does this. So I just get the feeling that Trish is quietly toxic. There we go. I finally found a way to explain it. Because why are you so proud to still say, yeah, I got a husband? You ain't filed no paperwork. And the husband seems to just be sitting on the sidelines, okay, and waiting.
Or he don't know.
How would he not? It's a small town. I feel like she's walking around town with this man. He has to know. He has to
I
know.
mean, we only see what we could see on the guidelines of the TV. We
Child.
ain't seen them at the grocery store. We ain't seen them at
I mean, if
Target.
she
We ain't
running
seen
into
them no.
Martell at Target, I'm sure her husband and the kids that they have in that city, I'm
Oh
sure
yeah,
he
I'm sure she didn't ran into him at Kroger at the fish counter and was all like, "Hey, get these kids since you want." I'm
because
pretty
they
sure that's
also
what happened.
said that people know, I guess, around town that she is married, and some people question them on their own. So I'm like, nah, it's too small of a goddamn town. I feel like
It
there's
is too small of a town. It is. It's way too small of a town. But at the same time, what you're saying is making sense, and I believe that. But I just, if it is as horrible as Latricia and Stormy is saying, I do want her to end up with somebody great. However, I'm gonna need you to have greatness thrusted upon you too. I
She
don't
needs
need
to
that just
file
to be
for divorce.
one-sided. Yeah, I need you to put your best foot forward, step on the gas pedal, and get to the courthouse so
That's
you can get
right.
this filed because this is ridiculous at this point. So the men are now talking, and the men are questioning Ken, saying, "Hey, so." And they're even on the spectrum of like, "That's your wife, everything." And he goes, "No, we're not married." And he goes, "Well, do y'all want to get married?" "Well, I want to get married, but she still is technically married." They're like, "What you mean technically married?" "Well, she's still with her husband." And that's another thing. I get that too, but sometimes women be
That's
tripping.
right, Shayna. That is right. I don't know a damn parent that's gonna have somebody
Unless
around
he's
the
not
kids
that
that they know.
involved. Unless he's not that involved.
Man, he
Yeah.
gotta know. I'm telling you, they running into each other in Target, in Target. They know. He knows. He knows.
Unless I said, unless he don't go to Target with her, that's the only thing I'm gonna say. But the men were talking, and the men were pretty much, like saying, "Okay, well, what's the taking so?" He goes, "I don't know, man. She ain't stepping on the gas. She ain't going nowhere." And it was like, and Maurice was like, "Well, after 5 years, she can get a divorce without any hesitation, right?"
That's the first time he says something that I
And
didn't
I'm all
roll that
like,
high.
everybody knows this in certain states that is true.
Yeah.
So Latricia really, so what we gather from Maurice telling Ken this is that Latricia really ain't got no excuse. She ain't got no excuse, nothing. So it's starting to sound like what Mrs. Best is saying is I think she at some point is gonna go back to this husband.
She
And I'm gonna
is.
get mad at her if she do. I'm gonna get mad at her if I find out her and Ken broke up and she back with that husband because I feel like you done put this man who seemed to have some. I mean, the only thing I'm gonna clock him because you said that he don't really have no. The only red flag that's a really big red flag for me is him omitting therapy to work out.
Mm.
That's not. Those two should never coagulate. Now you can go to therapy, and one of the suggestions of stress could be to work out, but as long as you're getting your mentals together, that's only physical. So I need us to blur the line there. But at the end of the day, that's the only thing I see. But other than that, I feel like if she does go back to the husband, she is going to ruin him. So the next woman he get with, he gonna have big ass trust issues, and that's gonna be sad because he didn't come out that way. He wasn't like that with us around when we first were introduced to him. So she wants the husband to chase her. She's wrong for involving the kids in this. She's also involved his daughter. Shake my. That's another thing. I
Tell the
don't
truth and shame the devil
right.
because
I don't think she really thought this through. I really don't think she thought. I didn't think she. You know what? Probably what it is, Shayna. I don't think she thought she was going to get into a relationship. It just happened. And see, and that's the whole thing. Y'all, life is going to happen. Sometimes things come into your way as a blessing. But see, because we are in our own way at a lot of times, that blessing is only going to sit there a few moments longer, and then we lose it.
I'm telling you, this lady is quietly toxic because when you really look at all of the components and all of the people that are impacted, it's wrong. But I do also think, like what you just said, James, I genuinely feel like she didn't expect to get into a full blown relationship. I genuinely don't think that, but I also think Shayna, that goes to a little toxicity. I think that exists in that marriage. I think she want him to chase her this time. She probably trying to make a big old point because she seems so reserved whenever he talks about like wanting to have a future, moving things along, or asking her about things. Like she seems like uncomfortable. Like,
Yeah. And I'm going to reiterate what I said in the last recap to this recap. Carlos, bring that ex husband on the show next season. or on the second part of this, I know they're still filming today. Bring that ex-husband if you haven't already done so. Bring him on the show, please. I need some clarity at this point. I need to understand because something makes me feel like it's her. Something makes me feel like it's her, that it's not him. I
Yeah.
agree. She thought this was a plaything. It went too far, and she doesn't know how to end it. People act like they can't be alone.
Yeah.
Well, she's not
Yeah.
used to being alone, so that's the problem. So she was, and that's what makes me think about her and this whole Martell thing now. Now I'm thinking about that even more because now it's starting to feel like, okay, so you probably always had you a man in settled places. That's how this is coming up to me
Yeah.
because this whole how she moves thing, and then when they came to their interaction, this makes me think about that now even more. I wasn't really going to have much thought process on her and Martell and it possibly being someone he could have had an affair with allegedly, but it's the way she's moving, it's starting to look like that. And I hope, and as I said, I think Shayna said it here. Ken is going to get ruined over this if this doesn't work out in his favor. He is going to get ruined because he didn't want to get married until her. And now that she's playing all these games, and if the potential is she goes back to her husband, he's never going to want to get married. And that's the thing that ruins men. Like women can ruin men
I don't
into
feel
this.
sorry for him. Listen, everybody's big age. I've been saying this as someone who is married and actually values that. I can't see myself saying, "Oh, I want to be separated," and then talking to other people. And at one point years ago, I did separate from my husband because he got on my nerves. I had people trying to date me. I told all of them, "No, I don't want to date you. I'm separated because I don't know what's gonna happen." And look at the shit, we still married. So you never know what can happen. It genuinely annoys me that people choose to date people like this. And if you don't know, then once you find out that the person you've been dating is still legally married to someone else, you talk to them. That's when it's okay to give an ultimatum with a timeline. You need to file for divorce by this time. If it happens, then stay with them because they filed for divorce. And if they don't file, don't argue about it. Dump them, move on with your life. People will do what they want to do if they're not filing for divorces because they don't want to be divorced. And whatever the reason is for that is her and her husband's business, but it's wrong for her to like lead Ken on because that's what she's doing.
No,
Ken
I
also left his
agree.
girlfriend and immediately when people need to take time to be alone. Exactly, Shayna. Exactly.
But as we said, they trauma bonded over this. Whatever these relationships ended, well, one ended, the other one is still in contingency. So their bond was working out, and this is what therapy does, y'all. This is why we have therapy because it helps you put your own self on the upward. And see what these two are doing, they're trauma bonding. And the problem is that now it's getting serious. He wants to elevate to the next level, but she technically can't because she still belongs to Mr. Charlie around the corner. So there's nothing we can do here. And we want to shout because they're a beautiful black couple. Despite all of this, they're a beautiful black couple and we want them to win. But once again, she has to make the moves here. He can't do nothing without her. So, but that was pretty much the episode, you guys. That's where it is. This episode was better. It was much better. But from where I stand now, Ken and Trisha, I want them off the show. Or if they're going to stay on the show, Carlos need to bring that ex-husband on the show. I need you to bring
I
that.
actually think that their storyline and what she has going on makes them okay for the show, at least for entertainment purposes. I just wish she'd open up more. I want Tisha and Marsal to go. And I'm kind of over Maurice and Kemi too.
I've been over. I've been over Maurice. Something that Courtney said in that Sprinter van reminded me of why I didn't like Maurice. It was that whole when he had said that what he said about Kimmy during her chemo and when she was getting out of chemo, how she didn't want to have sex because her libido was dry and all that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I remember that. And I was just thinking to myself, oh my God, I forgot all about that. And yeah, I don't like that.
I don't feel like anything we see with the Scots is genuine on either side of the spectrum, with the exception of Kemi. There's times that she's been genuine, but I'm just over them. Like, and then from looking at it from a business perspective, if I was a producer on this show, they don't really give anything.
They don't. They don't at all. None. They don't. They just run off everybody else's story and make fun and poke fun at everybody else's pain. But y'all know I'm about to end the live, but I'm going to say this, and I don't care what y'all say. I do not care, and Mrs. Best knows where I'm going with this. As much as everyone would hate to admit it, I don't have no problem with this person on the show. I actually enjoyed her, but they need Tiffany back. I'm gonna keep saying it until I blue in the face. I understand not having her now, how much of a value, even though she got on people's nerves and even though she was messy, she kept the shit going, and we need Tiffany. I'm sorry. This is Love and Marriage. Huntsville is so boring without her. And at least she got the shit going with some. And I'm telling you, she got that old nosy white lady with a whole bunch of cats kind of nosiness, and I miss it. I do. But that was Love and Marriage Huntsville. Not. I'm just saying, Shayna, you need to tell right to Carlos. He watch you. I know he do. Tell Carlos he need to do something because this ain't it. This is not it. They need something. I'm telling you. I was never this bored with the show when Tiffany was on it. I'm just saying. Because Destiny's show ain't giving. So, and they shouldn't have got rid of Kiki either. So,
and well, I think the cast will change because half of them done been arrested. So maybe that'll like breach the contract or something. I don't know. Work something out.
Yes, yeah, they need to do something. This show needs something. Maybe a recast. Maybe find the other black come up group in Huntsville and see what they doing. But that's it, y'all. That was once again, that was the end of the show. Thank you guys for coming in. Like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. I'm trying to still build my channel. Also, Mrs. Best is my co-host. We rotate on channels. So any shows that I don't do on my channel, 9 out of 10 we do on her channel. So make sure you guys are subscribed to her channel because I do join her a lot on her channel as much as she's on mine. So with that being said, thank you guys once again. Tomorrow, if anyone's interested in Real Housewives of New Jersey from my perspective of here on my channel, go ahead and subscribe to Mrs. Best so you can watch me go in on Real Housewives of New Jersey. But I will be back on my channel on Wednesday to do Real Housewives of Dubai. And I had a really good turnout on the episode 1. So we'll see what episode 2 is. Yes. So thank you guys once again. We appreciate you. Thank you, Mrs. Best, for joining us. Thank you, everybody, too, in the chat that was live with us. We appreciate you as well. Have a good night, guys. Bye-bye.
Bye.